Okay. Ooh, today might be a long one. We're talking about Love is Blind UK. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Eric. I have a stutter, and I started this channel because I like to talk, and talking in real life is quite difficult because of the stutter. And when I talk to myself, I don't stutter. And I love talking about movies. And what started off as a movie commentary channel is slowly evolving into talking about whatever the is happening right now in the world and having fun with it. And I've wanted to talk about Love is Blind for a while because I find it difficult to understand how people are so dysfunctional that they will go on a televised program to date each other without seeing the other person, to then get engaged after like 2 weeks and walk down the altar in front of all their friends and family to either A, get a partner for life, or B, humiliated for the rest of eternity, or for as long as people have internet and access to the episodes. I haven't been on YouTube for long, so this is the first season that actually airs as I've started the channel, and I thought it'd be a great opportunity because I live in the UK, and this is the first season of the UK. I know, Netflix is unstoppable. They are building a massive shared universe of reality dating stars, D-list celebrities they keep bringing back to their other shows like Are You the One? Spoiler alert, you never are. And even though the US seasons have slowly turned into sort of a casting process for Instagram influencers, this new series feels different. Maybe it's because it's the first season and people they cast genuinely want to get married, which seems to be the case. Or maybe it's because British people are better at dating. No, that can't be right. So I was expecting a cast filled with Love Island wannabe stars who missed out on the cutoff dates for the next season. Maybe they didn't have the body standards that Love Island requires because, you know, they are naked a lot. But I was surprised to find that only one person fits those requirements. I was disappointed at first, but then the more I kept watching, the more I was like, you know what, this is actually interesting. It's actually good that we're seeing people go on Love is Blind because they want to find a husband or a wife and not just because they want to find thousands of followers on Instagram so they can charge people absurd amounts of money for their OnlyFans. Yes, that has happened, although it was a too hot to handle star, but who cares? Same. They're all going to be on Netflix roster for future shows. So when I watched this season, the first 4 episodes were kind of boring, apart from one storyline. And then the next 5, we're now on episode 9, more drama started coming up. And I was debating whether or not to cover the entire season or just the toxic couples, because there's so much to say about the toxic ones that I don't want to bore you guys with well-adjusted people that date because they genuinely like each other and they can solve problems with effective communication. No, that's not interesting. Nobody wants to watch that. We want to see drama. We want to see dysfunctional people try to make it work and then fail miserably. There's something addictive about seeing messy people on TV. It's just like, I guess we're in a very voyeuristic society. We're all kind of bored with our own lives. We're all kind of waiting around until the United States decides to stop funding a genocide. What are we supposed to do with our free time, you know? Well, here's your answer. Love is Blind UK. Let's talk about it. But before we do, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Click the bell notification so you never miss a future upload from me. And yeah, just follow along the journey of a stuttering fag. That's a naughty word, but according to YouTube, they have a policy about reclaiming slurs. So YouTube, if you're listening, let me reclaim the slur fag. I don't even know where to start. This is so messy. Okay, there's 2 guys specifically in this season that I'm like unsure about. One of them is Sam. He is the biggest walking red flag, full on, straight away, first conversation. He's a red flag. He shouldn't be on this show or anywhere near its contestants. And then we have Ollie. Ollie is a bit of a slow burn, but now that we're on episode 9, he's kind of okay. So I'm like, oh, I can't even talk about that. Well, I can, because I still don't trust him. So let's get into Sam first. Sam is 31. He lives in London and he does something, I don't know, product design manager or something like that. He looks like the archetype of the Love Island contestant. He confesses that he's had self-confidence issues over the years, but as soon as he heard about this experiment, he dropped off the dating apps, he worked really hard at the gym, and he got a new skincare routine, which is code for, I want to be famous. And from here on out, he tries to control the narrative so he can paint himself as a specific type of person. I need someone to tell him that it backfired completely. I went online and he was the only person that people were talking about in this show because he's the only one bringing any sort of interesting drama to the table. But someone needs to tell him that this was a bad idea. I feel like what he wanted to get out of this show, fans and fame and money, is maybe not going to work out that well. But he does have a pretty face and a good body, so I won't be shocked to see him in the next season of Are You the One on Netflix, because that's what they do. They just recycle these D-list celebrities. The premise of the show is actually quite silly, People date each other in pods separated by a wall. They never see each other, and they have to see if they build a connection with anyone on the other side. There's two groups, one of men and one of women. No, there is no queer version of Love is Blind, because I feel like gays would be a logistical difficulty. Imagine putting two groups of men in, they would just fuck each other. You end up with two massive orgies happening. And then they're sent off in a sort of a honeymoon getaway before they are thrust into the real world for a couple of weeks to see if they are compatible or not in the real world. No matter how much I try to rack my brain around the idea of signing up for this show, I still can't comprehend how desperate one must be to actually do it. It's not the dating without seeing the other person that I have something against. It's the letting Netflix film you guys and then edit it for entertainment purposes for the entire world to see. Though I guess that's what attracted Sam to it. He wants to be out there. He wants to build himself up as this eternal, hopeless, romantic guy who just was too unlucky at love. And boy, oh boy, we feel sorry for you, Sam. But we don't. We don't, because Sam is a prick. Not going to mince my words. He is an actual prick, and he's really disrespectful and really toxic. Let's get into it. Someone should use Sam as a case study to teach narcissism. And I'm sure there's going to be enough think pieces out there if people bother to watch this show. It's not as big of a phenomenon as the US version. Everything he says feels very carefully planned ahead of time to portray a certain image. He keeps saying that he's a big kid at heart. He just wants someone to walk around the house naked with, be silly and goofy, and just have like a genuine relationship that he can be happy about. And he dates two women in the pods, Jasmine and Nicole. From the very first date with both of these women, he is intense. In fact, in the first date with Jasmine, he tells her that he just wants someone to give her a chance. Jasmine, a mental health nurse, seems very astute. She's gonna sniff out the bullshit. I like her. She's really fucking cool and loyal and just a great gal all around. Straight away, she asks him, why do you think people are not giving you a chance? And he says, I think that girls might see my Instagram or see me in person and not think that I'm like relationship material. Maybe they just think I'm a one-night stand. And she's like, well, why? Do you give off boy energy? And he's like, no, not at all. I just don't go around chatting to any girl at a bar. And then he just sort of doesn't answer that question and goes into, I'm just a big kid at heart. I just want someone to give me a chance. Is that so much to ask? Yes. Yes, it is, Sam, because you are creepy. And the more she thinks about it, the more she feels like he's immature, lacks depth. Meanwhile, he's acting like Jasmine is his only connection. Mind you, he's dating Nicole. Nicole, who's been married before, so she has some baggage and some experience, but she also seems unhealthily obsessed with the idea of being married again. And Sam just knows what to say, when to say. On their first date, Nicole asks him, what would the book of your life story look like? And he gives the most nauseating answer. He's like, it would be the greatest love story ever. You'd read it and struggle not to cry. And she reacts with a, aww. And as soon as she says, aw, he's like, there we go. Almost like he was trying to provoke that reaction and get it on TV. Because everything this man says is like him trying to paint a picture of himself for whoever watches this show. But you can tell he's very insecure, because when he says goodbye to Jasmine and Nicole, he keeps repeating like, don't forget about me. Yeah, don't forget about me. I'm Sam from London. It reeks of insecurity and narcissism, like he just wants these women never to forget about him. And when he's pressed about his comments of his Instagram by Jasmine, Sam's answer, let me see if I can break this down in terms that actually make sense. He is victimizing himself for being too pretty. He thinks that women look at him and must think, oh my God, he's so hot. How could I ever resist boinking him all day? Who's even gonna have time to raise a family when you got this big hunk of a meat man next to you? You just wanna ride his dick all day. every day until the paint starts dripping from the walls. There's something so bizarre about seeing this man hype himself up so much. Like, he's on Love is Blind, right? The point is to not give any indication of what you might look like. Not your height, not your weight, not your anything. The point is to go completely blind, and if you fall in love, you fall in love. And then you find out who the person is and what they look like. But Sam keeps dropping these hints like he's hot and they're gonna like him and they're gonna want to be with him. Like, he tells Nicole, oh, I think if you chose me for your husband, I think you'd be pleasantly surprised. Okay. And whereas Jasmine can tell straight away that he lacks depth and is full of shit and is very immature, Nicole just lets herself go along for the ride. She lets him woo her. Mind you, he's been telling both these women the same thing all along, that you're my number one, that you're the only one who gives me butterflies, that I can envision my future with you. I'm just a big kid at heart. I just need someone to love me. But he never tells any of them that he loves them. That's the only thing that I'll praise him for, is that he never outright says, I love you. But once Jasmine starts talking to a different guy, Bobby, who she connects with incredibly well straight away, she breaks things off with Sam. And Sam, as you'd expect, doesn't take it well. He acts like a belligerent child, because that's what these man babies are. They're belligerent children who can't take no for an answer. He walks out the room, throws his glass in a tantrum, and then talking to his friends about what just happened, he's like, oh, I promised myself I wouldn't get emotional, while he's wiping away his dry ass face. And then he's like, oh yeah, it was the most horrible thing in my life. She gave me 30 seconds before she dumped me, and I liked her so much. I was going to give her such a great future. Anyway, I had too strong connections, so I guess beggars can't be choosers. There's something to be said about influencer wannabes who go on TV to build an audience and don't realize they're being televised. They don't realize that people of all backgrounds, of all ages, are going to be watching this, okay? It's not just going to be your mates, and it's not just going to be girls who are desperate to fall in love, that they'll look at you and think, oh my God, he's so hot and so kind, I want him. No, Sam, no. No. And then all of his focus turns to Nicole once Jasmine dumps him. And he makes it sound like Nicole was his number one anyway, so it's all good. It doesn't matter that Jasmine broke up with him because he's fine. He's got the best connection in the house, which is a big load of bullshit. We can see right through him. He didn't like any of these women. So to prove to himself that Nicole is the one, he gifts her his bracelet. He tells her that it's 8 years old. It probably smells because he's never washed it. And he just looked at it and thought, yeah, this needs to be worn by Nicole. I like her so much. And I don't blame Nicole for having love goggles, though. I mean, yeah, I do blame her kind of a bit. It's like, girl, it's getting harder to defend you, because she's also talking to this guy Benaya. He's a 33-year-old homeless hippie. He's sort of like a nomad, does a off-grid conscious living, which he's very into, but he also doesn't give her the assurances that she needs. And because Sam is so desperate to get out of the show with a wife and an audience, he tells her everything she needs to hear and more. Not because she likes her, but because his plan is to go through the experiment with her until the very end, because I guess it's the only one that hasn't dumped him yet. And after giving her the bracelet, he tells her that he can't wait to pick her up. And she says, oh, I don't know if you'll be able to. Ha ha ha. And at first he takes it as like a sort of a joke. He's like, okay, I didn't quite understand what that was about. But then he walks out and speaks to his friends again, and he's just baffled by this strange, very odd thing that she said. So he tells his friends what Nicole said, and they're like, oh, maybe she has a twisted ankle and that's why you can't pick her up. Sure. And Sam says that he doesn't mind a bit of meat, but you know, it was just a strange comment to make. And Benaya listens to these comments and he struggles whether to tell Nicole or not, because Sam is basically treating her like a trophy. That's what Sam does. He speaks about Love is Blind like it's this competition, right? And the ultimate goal is to get a wife. It may seem that way to little kids, right? But you're a grown-up, you know? You got on the show. You probably read the terms and conditions. Hell, you probably watched previous seasons. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand that the goal isn't to try and force a marriage to happen. It's to see if a marriage will organically happen as it should. Nicole, unfortunately, is the biggest victim in this whole situation because she is genuinely torn between Ben and Sam is the only one that's giving her the assurances that she needs. So when she has a date with Ben and asks him if he's leaning towards marrying someone or not, he tells her that he can't give her the assurances that she needs in that moment, unfortunately, but he does hope to see her again the next day. Big mistake for Ben, because he then realizes that he's made a mistake and he actually really likes her and he's at risk of losing her. And Nicole is just blind, literally. Ben eventually tells her that he doesn't think that Sam is there for the right reasons. Some of his comments just left a weird taste in his mouth, and he had to tell her because he feels protective over her. And then Jasmine, who also dated Sam, tells Nicole that he lacks depth, and she thinks Nicole will be a lot happier with Benaya, both spiritually and emotionally. And Nicole, the considerate human being that she is, marinates on these suggestions, these pieces of advice, and asks Sam outright on a date if he's there for anything else other than a serious relationship. And again, he gives her the assurances, everything that she needs and more. He goes kind of crazy. He does a bit too much. Like, he's like, yes, I can't believe it. Like, you gotta trust me. Yeah, we're gonna make each other so happy. And they're hyping each other up in this little weird euphoric moment of positive emotions to the point where he's like, you know what? I'm just gonna do this. He gets on one knee and he proposes. Just like out of nowhere, without even intending to do that on that date. He just proposes to her, and he's like, oh, I got a hand on my wall, Nicole. I got a hand on my wall. And she's like, oh, I can feel it. And he's like, will you marry me? And she's like, yes, I will marry you. And I'm just thinking, oh my God. Sometimes I wish production would just like step in and be like, guys, actually, let's not. And then he keeps saying these bizarre things like, I need you to trust me. It's going to be so good. You deserve it. You deserve to be happy. And there's something really bizarre about hearing this man tell this woman, like, you deserve it. You deserve it. I don't know. It felt wrong. And at this point, I realized that he hasn't told her yet that he loves her. He's proposed. She said yes. And then she says, oh, I love you. And his answer, I swear to God, is, I think I love you too.
I love you.
I think I love you too. I can't believe it.
I'm sorry, you think you love the one you've been dating for weeks that you just proposed to? You think you love her after she's told you that she loves you? What? And her reaction genuinely broke my heart. You can see her face in real time, like taking in those words. I think I love you, my future wife. Beautiful sentence that you kind of never want to hear. And this, of course, forces Nicole to break up with Benaya, who's left heartbroken, but, you know, respect Nicole's decision. And then when Nicole and Sam meet is when I just truly lost it. Because up until this point, I hadn't even considered whether or not Nicole was going to be attracted to Sam. I just assumed in my mind that everyone in this cast will be okay with their partners, except for Sam and maybe Ollie, the other one that we need to talk about. But everybody else seemed so into the experiment and into like doing it for the right reasons that I never doubted that Nicole would like be into whoever she chose. So when those doors opened and Nicole sees Sam and Sam sees Nicole, this is why we watch this show. Nicole's face in real time, you can tell that she was not happy about it. And Sam's exaggerated reaction, hyperbolizing the moment, saying that this is the best moment of his life, and then hugging her and straight away saying, trust me, it's gonna be okay, trust me. Dude, trust you with what? Why do you keep asking her to trust you? What is it that you need her to trust you with? And why is it so important that she tells you verbally, as these cameras are rolling, that she trusts you? Why? Samuel? But it's very obvious neither of them wants the other. It's so awkward. Then he drops the ring. Then he puts the ring on the wrong hand and the wrong finger. Then they hug like they are just being forced to hug each other. But you know what really pissed me off? As soon as he meets her, they cut to the interview and he goes, I don't care what anyone thinks. Yeah, to me, she's freaking gorgeous.
Yeah, to me, I don't care what anyone else thinks. To me, she's freaking gorgeous.
Who's thinking what, Sam? Like, what? Who's thinking anything? Who's who? Who's anyone? Who said anything? Who implied anything? From this to saying, I think I love you, this man is delusional. Are we on crack? Are you on crack? He literally turns to her and he's like, what color are your eyes? And she's like, I don't know, black? And he goes, boring brown. No, they're not, because you're amazing.
Black?
Boring brown. But they're not, because they're amazing. No, honestly.
Like, actually talking to her like she's a dog. When they're saying goodbye, he's like, don't forget my face now, yeah? Promise. And she's like, no, okay. Nicole's just slowly walking backwards, trying not to incite any more conversation with him. She just wants to get out of there. And Sam keeps trying to make this moment more special than it is. And as they're walking in opposite directions, about to leave the room, he turns around. He's like, Nicole. And he looks at her, and it plays off as almost like the ending of a romantic story, except you can see Nicole's face, and she's not enjoying it. And he goes, I think I love you. And she says, okay, I'm gonna hold that. Gonna keep it with me.
Wait.
What?
I think I love you.
Okay, I'm gonna hold that.
And the way Sam retells the story to his friends about the proposal, how he told her all the right things. He's like, oh yeah, I told her she was amazing. I was going to give her a great future. La-di-da-di-da. He literally says la-di-da-di-da. He's already looking forward to watch parties his mom is probably going to throw with all of his friends and family when they see him on TV. Because nothing that comes out of this man's mouth is genuine. Like, he is a big phony. He keeps saying that he came to this experiment to find a partner and to really give it a good shot and this and that. And he's not. He's not. He's superficial and he's shallow, and all he wanted was to be a hero on TV. Luckily, they never make it to the honeymoon phase because as soon as the doors closed, they both realized collectively, I guess, that they had made a mistake and it felt wrong. So they call things off, and then Nicole calls Benaya and they kind of make up, right? So that's great. Nicole and Benaya then get engaged. Great for them. She realized that she made a mistake with Sam. And later in the season, when everyone kind of reunites, like the engaged couples and everybody else that was in the pods but didn't find a partner, they all get together to hang out and have a little celebration. And Sam shows up. Now, at this point, Nicole wants some closure with Sam. She wants to return the bracelet, you know, the one that's 8 years old and smells because this pig never washes it. And though Benaya isn't a huge fan of the idea because he heard all of the things that Sam said about Nicole in the pods, he, you know, lets it happen. And he says that if he sees him being disrespectful towards her, he's going to say something. And it's a very interesting conversation. Nicole and Sam sitting in a tree. Nicole gives him the bracelet back. This man does not look heartbroken at all. This man has not cried a single time in this entire show, even though he's basically declared his undying love for two different people who both broke up with him at two different times. He seems fine. He seems genuinely just happy to be on TV again, extending his little 15 minutes of fame. He asks Nicole if she ever loved him genuinely, and she says, yeah, in the pods, I think I did, but then when we came outside, I don't think that we were what the other one needed. And he goes, oh, because I didn't want to be physical with you the first night. And she's like, no, I mean, I genuinely think that there was something missing and we could tell straight away when we met, but we just, needed a bit more time to let it sink in. And he goes, oh yeah, because I didn't want to be physical with you the first night. And she's like, no, there's other reasons. So that's new information. Turns out Sam and Nicole, the first night they were together, apparently they spent it together and she wanted to get physical to explore their physical connection. Whereas Sam wanted to be a gentleman about it. He didn't want to, go too fast. He wanted to respect Nicole's wishes. Just one thing, if someone wants to sleep with you and you want to sleep with them, but you say you're not going to because you want to respect them, but they want to sleep with you, then you just don't want to sleep with them. And that's fine. Just say that, Don't use the I want to be a gentleman as an excuse. Just say I don't want to sleep with you. Maybe if we're honest, we can get somewhere. But it's the way that Sam is trying to paint this breakup as the only reason why it didn't work out was because you wanted to get physical straight away, you whore. Whereas I'm a gentleman, I was going to respect my future wife. I wouldn't want to go into it too fast because I want to take things slow and really build on that emotional bull. You're just not attracted to Nicole. Just say that, and that's fine. Let's just normalize people going on the show and realizing that actually they need to feel attracted to the person to get married. Like, there's nothing wrong with admitting that you don't want to marry someone you're not attracted to, okay? There's nothing wrong with that. I don't know why I'm getting irate. I really don't know. It just pisses me off that these types of toxic men keep getting airtime on TV and just keep spreading this bad behavior, but then they do it in such a subtle, unassuming way that if you don't look into it deep enough, they're gonna come across as like the good guys. Because if you look at this entire storyline on a surface level and you take Sam's words as truth, then you'll see that actually he was played by Nicole. He was led to believe that she liked him and then she broke up with him when he wouldn't want to put out. That's the narrative that he's spinning. When the reality is, he said whatever he had to say to get Nicole to say yes to his proposal, and then he was just gonna wait until the right moment to break things off. Like, it was very, very obvious, which is what Ollie seemed to be doing at one point. We'll get into Ollie in a second. But Nicole is now happy with the closure that she got. You know, she spoke to him and she's ready to move on, move past it, forget about it. Benaya is not ready. Benaya wants to have a little dig first, and Sam just does the worst possible things at every turn. I don't know what this man was expecting. Ben speaks to him and tells him, I think you were on the show for ulterior motives. You didn't want to find a wife, and I felt very protective over Nicole, and, you know, I didn't want you to hurt her. So I just wanted to give you my peace of mind, I guess. And Sam is very offended. He's very taken aback, like, oh, I've never seen this side of you, mate. Like, why are you doing this? And then he gets quite annoyed and belligerent. In Sam's defense, I understand why he got so defensive and you know, combative. But what he says in response is really disgusting. He turns to Ben and he goes, oh, but you know that the first night we spent together, she wanted to sleep with me. And I said, no, right? Right? You know that's why it didn't work out between us, right? Anyway, bye. Luckily, Ben is a lot more mature, and all he says was, you are incredibly disrespectful towards Nicole. You're really a piece of shit. No, he doesn't call him a piece of shit, but, you know, in other words, and then he walks away. Fortunately, that doesn't affect Benaya and Nicole's relationship because he's annoying and obnoxious and bleh. But that was the last that we saw of Sam as of episode 9. I cannot wait to see what happens in the reunion, if they even do a reunion. And he's just a prick. He's just a small dicked prick. And it's annoying because they ruin the experience for everybody. Like, the whole point of going on Love is Blind is because you don't care about appearances. If you're gonna care about appearances, like, go on Too Hot to Handle. That's literally the purpose of the show. Dumbass. And then we have Ollie. Ollie is the slow burner, the gaslighter, who is actually cool? I've gone back and forth with Ollie because he starts off great, then there's a wobbly midsection, and then he ends up great, and I just can't trust this man. So Ollie is 32 and he works in software sales, and I think that's what we should be focusing about. He works in sales. He knows how to sell things. He knows how to talk to people. He knows how to make small talk, something that I wish I knew how to do. And straight away, he connects very intensely with Demi and Kat. But Kat is more like a physical, sexual vibe, whereas with Demi is a more emotional, deep one. So eventually, Kat breaks things off with Ollie because she can see that Ollie and Demi are making each other really happy, which Ollie had intentions of doing anyway, but he doesn't. He's like, oh, great, you're so cool, thank you. So Kat breaks things off with Ollie, but he tells people that he broke things off with Kat, which isn't exactly true. I don't trust Ollie because in the past when he spoke about Kat to his friends, he was talking about her, again, his little shopping metaphors, that Kat was everything he'd ever want on paper, but then it didn't feel like home, you know? It didn't have that safe, comfortable feeling that he feels with Demi, and it's not a house that you'd buy. The moment you start comparing women to objects, activities, purchases. What are we doing? What are we doing? If your house has the space and the luxury and the location and a swimming pool, but then you get there, you know, you walk around the space and it doesn't feel like home, you're not going to buy it. Someone tell Ollie that he's not going to buy anyone. And he keeps dating Demi, who has insecurities about herself. She's also very competitive and seen as like one of the guys. So she's kind of like masculine in her daily life, which doesn't seem to faze Ollie while they're talking because they're bonding on such a deep level. So eventually, Ollie proposes to Demi, and when they meet, he is very complimentary of her. He says that she's gorgeous, she's curvaceous in all the right ways. He wasn't disappointed, but it's almost like he's overcompensating. And I say that because later, when they're on their little honeymoon, the first night, he asks her if she's gonna miss the pods, if she's gonna miss how they were able to communicate when they couldn't see each other. And then starts spinning this really interesting story. He's like, as soon as the doors open, he felt so attracted to her that he got scared they wouldn't be able to build on their emotional connection anymore, because he has alluded at times of being a very shallow person in his past relationships, and he came to this show because he's finally ready to take that emotional step and make that lifelong commitment. And he implies that he's so attracted to Demi that he's scared he might objectify her like he would a pretty girl on the outside world. So instead, he really has to like separate the physical and the emotional, so he can still bond with her while also being extremely attracted to her. I call bullshit because it makes no f***ing sense. Like, y'all are engaged and in love, and you know she's obviously crazy for you. In fact, she even says in an interview, which is very heartbreaking, that if she had seen him in a street, she would have been like, yeah, he's fine. But also, he's so fine that he's never going to look at me, so I'm just going to keep walking. And then here you have Ollie in the interview saying that the more emotionally connected they get, the more physically attracted they are. And then the physical attraction builds on the emotional connection, and the emotional connection builds on the physical attraction. And it's just like this little game of like up, 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 up. And it sounds like bull. And then later, when all the couples get together and he meets Kat, the woman that he had been speaking to, he's left flustered. He's left very, very flustered. And in the interview, he's like, yeah, I mean, we made our decisions in the pod, but yeah, I mean, it was nice seeing her. And Netflix was editing this almost as if to build this love triangle that was gonna mess up Ollie and Demi's relationship. But somehow that never ends up happening. What does end up happening is Demi's friend Jasmine, remember the one that told Sam that he was immature? She hounds Ollie the second time they all get together and tells him like Demi is an insecure girl and what she needs is for you to reassure her. So yesterday when he had the chat with Kat to solve things, you should have pulled Demi for a chat to reassure her, not my fiance to chat about whatever the hell you were talking to Kat about. And though I get where Jasmine is coming from in this situation, the fact that she's like really grilling Ollie to the point where even I was like, okay, girl, you need to like stop, like butt out. It's really none of your business. Like, tell him that you don't agree with how he handled things, but just leave it at that. But she keeps going and going and going for like an uncomfortable amount of time to the point where Ollie's like, you know what? I don't want to be here. I just want to fucking go. So he goes, and it seems like he may leave Demi, but he doesn't. They stay together, and they go back to London, ready to just start life away from the couples and all the pressure and feeling overwhelmed by everything. And what the fuck? As soon as they get back to London, things start going beautifully well. They meet each other's family and friends. It all really goes well. Like, again, he's in software sales, so he knows how to sell stuff and he knows how to woo people. But I don't know, something changed. I was not expecting Ollie and Demi to be the most affectionate couple when they all got together, you know, after coming back from the honeymoon. I was not expecting them to get along so well, but they do. But I still don't think they're gonna get married because there's something about their dynamic that screams buddies, bros, friends. And then in the preview, we hear Ollie say maybe we're better as friends than we are as a couple. So that could be an indication as well. I was surprised with Ollie. He really made me swallow my words in these last 5 episodes that I saw. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens when they get to the altar and if it's him that swallows his words. Because I was fucking right the first time. Apart from that, everybody else is very boring. Sabrina and Steven, they are a lovely couple who never really have a disagreement. They're absolutely going to get married. Jasmine and Bobby, they're gone for half of the season almost because there's really no drama happening with them. Tom and Maria, there's a bit of drama here and there, but it's mostly just like adults trying to figure out if they're compatible or not and how they fit into each other's lives and cultures and everything. So that's also cool. And then we have Freddie and Kat. Freddie and Kat, in the pods, I thought these two are going to go all the way. Physically speaking, they just seem like they belong to each other. They both look like they could have been on Love Island, if you get my gist. But as soon as they get back into the real world, my God, these two will not stop bickering. Freddie and Kat prove that just because you're really hot and attracted to each other both physically and emotionally doesn't mean it's going to work out. You know, there's a lot of other factors to take into consideration, including financial stability, emotional stability, self-confidence, communication style. Where's my puppy going? Oh, my angel. Oh, here is Skip. Guys, meet Skip. Skip is 9 months old. He was born without one of the front legs. Look at him. But he is so cute and so gorgeous. Just an angel, aren't you? Oh, yes. Always sleeping. Always happy to see me and everyone else. Go on, baby. No, seriously, this dog is just so relentlessly happy all the time. I'm like, what drugs are you taking? He's not taking any drugs. It's just natural hormones in his body, I guess. Yeah, Freddie and Kat prove that you can have it all and still not work out because it's not enough to be hot and like each other. You know, there's a lot of other factors to consider. There's a few other things that I could go into, but I'm gonna leave my final thoughts for after the reunion and the weddings. But right now, we have 6 engagements. We have Nicole and Benaya. I think they might say yes, though I see 0 sexual chemistry between them, but they seem to really like each other. Jasmine and Bobby, 100% yes. Sabrina and Steven, 100% yes. Ollie and Demi, it's going to be a no, I think. And then Tom and Maria, I think will be a yes. So I think we'll get at least 4 yeses, which is wild. So yeah, stay tuned for that if you wanna know who got married and who didn't. I'll also give a few more thoughts on each couple when everything airs. I just wanted to get this out of my chest because these two, especially Sam, just I don't know why we keep giving these men the time of the day. He said after giving them the time of the day. I know, it's ridiculous. I'm also not a relationship expert. Any dating advice that I have to offer is based off of my own understanding of human emotions and how we relate to other humans on a romantic and sexual level. I've only been in one relationship in my entire life, so I don't have the most experience out of everyone, but it sure as hell ain't worse than all these contestants because some of them really need help. And that's it for Love is Blind UK, a surprisingly very well-adjusted season with surprisingly mature contestants who actually went to the show to find true love, not fame, which is very annoying. Sam was really the only saving grace of the season, not because he's awful, but because he is what I thought everybody else was going to be. Trash. And I think that's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like this video, feel free to leave it a like down below, subscribe to my channel, click that bell notification so you never miss a future upload from me, and leave me questions down below if you want to ask anything. I read the comments and I reply to most comments, so yeah. And until next time, stay safe, stay sane, stay stupid, and stay stuttering. Bye, guys.